When I was 22, I rented a basement apartment in a quiet suburb just outside Portland. It was cheap, way too cheap, but I was desperate. My roommate had bailed, my lease was up, and this place was clean, furnished, and came with all utilities included. The landlord lived upstairs, a woman in her 60s named Ms. Harrow. She was polite, but off. She never made eye contact, always wore gloves, even in the summer, and her front garden was full of strange little ceramic dolls half buried in the soil, their faces turned down. But I didn't care. I had my own space. I was broke. It was perfect. The apartment itself was cozy. A kitchenette, a tiny bathroom, a main room with low ceilings and a weird smell that clung to the walls no matter how many candles I burned. The only thing that bothered me was the door to the furnace room. It didn't lock. And sometimes at night, I swear I could hear it click open. The first time it happened, I convinced myself it was just airflow. Old pipes. Settling house. That's what everyone says, right? But then, things started moving. I'd leave my keys on the counter, find them in the fridge. My phone would be plugged in overnight, but dead by morning, always open to the voice recorder app. And once, while I was brushing my teeth, the mirror fogged up from the shower even though I hadn't turned on any hot water. When I wiped it clear, someone had written, "Stay quiet," in the condensation. That night, I shoved a chair under the furnace room doorknob and tried to sleep. At 3:12 a.m. exactly, I heard the chair slide across the tile. I didn't sleep after that. I sat in the farthest corner of the room with a baseball bat in one hand and my phone flashlight in the other, staring at the furnace door. I didn't hear it open, I didn't see it move, but the chair was now perfectly upright, in front of the door, like someone had gently returned it. I checked the door, still unlocked, no latch. Just a rusted metal handle and a faint draft coming from the other side, cold and sour, like mildew and pennies. That morning, I told Miss Harrow. She just looked at me, pale and blank, and said, "Old houses play tricks on you." Then she handed me a jar of something murky and said, "Put this under your bed, for sleep." I threw it away. That night, I heard whispering. Not loud, not even fully words, just sounds, syllables, hissing like steam, murmuring from the furnace room. And underneath it, the faint scrape of fingernails on concrete. I moved the dresser in front of the door this time. Heavy. It would take 2 people to push it. Still, I barely slept. At 2:48 a.m., I was jolted awake by the bathroom light turning on by itself. Then off. Then on again. The mirror was fogged again, no shower, no steam, just fog. This time, the message read, "She knows." I left, slept in my car outside a gas station, came back the next day and found the front door of my unit wide open. Nothing stolen, but everything was off. My toothbrush was sitting in the middle of the living room floor. The picture on the wall was turned upside down. The dresser, the one I'd pushed in front of the furnace room, was back in its original place. And the door? Still ajar. I should have left for good. But I didn't. Something held me there, not logic, not stubbornness, more like a quiet pressure in the back of my mind, like if I left, it would follow. So I stayed one more night. I set up a phone to record video facing the furnace room door, left all the lights on, kept a flashlight and knife by my bed, told myself I just needed proof, something tangible I could show the police or a priest. Midnight passed, nothing. 1:0 a.m. Just silence. 2:15 a.m. The furnace door opened. Not fast, not loud, just a soft creak, like the wood was sighing. I couldn't see anything from my bed, the door was around the corner, but the camera had a perfect view. I heard footsteps, slow, heavy, bare. They didn't echo like a person's. They had weight, wetness, like someone walking with skin that was peeling off. Then breathing. Not from my own mouth. This was right behind the wall. Deep, slow, wrong. I turned on my flashlight, heart pounding, and forced myself to look around the corner. Nothing. The door was open, pitch black inside. But when I looked down, I saw footprints. Bare, soaked, like someone had stepped out of a pool, and a handprint. Just at the edge of the wall, 5 long fingers dragged down the drywall. I checked the camera in the morning. The footage was intact. It showed me going to bed. It showed the furnace door opening at 2:15. And then static. Just static for the next 2 hours. When the feed resumed, I was sitting bolt upright in bed, eyes wide open, mouth moving, but there was no sound. I showed the video to Ms. Harrow. She didn't even blink, just said, "It didn't like being filmed." Then she handed me a key. "Lock it tonight," she whispered. "Don't open it again." I didn't ask questions. I didn't want to know. That night, I locked the furnace door for the first time. It clicked with an unnatural finality, like the bolt slid into something alive. I pushed the dresser against it, taped it shut, sat awake in the corner all night, eyes fixed on the door. But it didn't try to open. No whispers, no breathing, no footprints. At sunrise, I passed out from exhaustion. When I woke up, Miss Harrow was gone. Not just upstairs, gone. Her unit was empty, furniture covered in sheets, dust in the air. I asked the neighbors. They said no one had lived upstairs for at least 4 years, that the house had been sold after the fire. There had never been a Miss Harrow. The landlord was listed under a corporation that hadn't answered its phone in over a decade. I moved out that same day, left everything behind, didn't even lock the front door. But sometimes late at night I'll get a voicemail on my phone. No number, just static. And in the middle of the noise, a faint, familiar voice. "You forgot your key." It was supposed to be an easy job. Friday night. Quiet neighborhood. 2 kids already asleep by the time I got there. Their parents were going to a gala, out till after midnight. All I had to do was hang out on the couch, watch TV, and make sure the house didn't burn down. I'd babysat for the Thompsons a few times before. Nice family. Mr. Thompson was a lawyer, Mrs. Thompson taught piano. Their house was way too big for 4 people. 4 stories, creaky wooden floors, antique furniture in every room. Even had one of those dumbwaiter shafts that hadn't been used in years. The kids were fine. A little weird, maybe. Lucy was 8, quiet and polite. Drew was 5, obsessed with knock-knock jokes and dinosaurs. That night, I helped them brush their teeth, read them a story, and tucked them into bed by 9:00. By 9:30, I was in the living room scrolling on my phone. That's when I noticed the house phone sitting on the side table. A landline, corded, off-white, looked ancient. I didn't remember seeing it last time. At exactly 10:01 p.m., it rang. I didn't recognize the number. "No caller ID," I answered. Static. Then a voice, a whisper. "They're not asleep." I hung up immediately. Went upstairs, checked their room. They were sound asleep, tucked in, breathing deeply. Then I noticed something strange. There was a second baby monitor on the dresser. One I hadn't seen before. Its red light was on, and it wasn't ours. I picked up the second baby monitor. No label, no buttons, just a solid black box with a red glowing LED. And it was warm. Too warm. I unplugged it from the wall and took it with me downstairs. Tried not to freak out. Told myself maybe Mrs. Thompson had installed another monitor without mentioning it. Maybe the kids had a second unit for backup. Maybe the landline rang again. 10:19 p.m. Same number, unknown. This time I didn't answer, let it ring and ring. It didn't go to voicemail, just kept ringing like it was waiting. I finally picked up. Silence. Then Someone is standing outside the basement door. I slammed the receiver down and ran to the kitchen. The basement door was closed, locked. I stood there for a minute, breathing fast, gripping a steak knife I'd grabbed from the counter. I told myself this was some prank, someone spoofing the caller ID, or maybe the Thompsons' weird security system acting up. Then I heard it. Soft, deliberate footsteps coming up the basement stairs. One step, two, then silence. I reached out shaking and flipped the deadbolt on the door, held the knife ready. Nothing. Silence. I backed away. Went to check on the kids again. They were fine, still asleep. And the weird second baby monitor? Still glowing red, even unplugged. That's when the landline rang for the third time. Zece. 4:34 p.m. I didn't answer. This time, it went to voicemail. The machine clicked on. A hiss of static. Then, "You forgot the third child." My heart dropped. The third child? There was no third child. I'd babysat for them at least half a dozen times. Just Lucy and Drew. Always had been. But now, I wasn't so sure. I checked their family photos on the wall. And suddenly, it was there. A picture of Mr. and Mrs. Thompson at the beach holding 3 kids. Lucy, Drew, and a boy I didn't recognize. Older, maybe 10, pale, wearing a striped shirt. Blank stare. I looked closer. His image was blurry. Like he didn't belong in the photo. Like someone had pasted him in. And in every other photo I checked, he was somewhere, hiding in the background, behind a curtain. Reflected in a mirror, staring through a window, always faint, always watching. My chest tightened. The landline rang again. I didn't answer. I couldn't. Then I heard a voice not through the phone, but from the monitor in my hand. A child's voice. She locked me down there, and now she left. You let her leave. I froze. What did he mean? Left? I ran to the front door, opened it. The Thompsons' car was still gone, but the garage light was on. I grabbed the house keys and ran outside, opened the garage, and found a door I hadn't seen before. Small, low to the ground, hidden behind stacked boxes. It had a padlock. One of the keys on the ring fit. I opened it. Inside was a narrow crawl space lined with yellow insulation and broken toys. And in the center, a pile of blankets and bones, small, human. I called 911. Tried to explain, stumbled over my words, said there were bones, a crawl space. Something wasn't right. The dispatcher kept asking me to repeat myself. My phone kept glitching, cutting in and out. Then, the call dropped completely. I ran back inside the house, heart pounding, thinking only of Lucy and Drew. They were gone, beds empty, no sign of a struggle, no open windows, no sounds. I screamed their names, ran through the house. Basement door, still locked. Front door, still closed. Then I heard the landline ring. One last time. 11:59 p.m. I answered, trembling. You forgot to tuck me in. Click. I dropped the phone, and that's when I saw him standing at the top of the stairs. The third child, pale, thin, wearing the striped shirt from the photos, but now, not blurry. His eyes were bottomless black. His lips moved, but no sound came out. He stepped forward, and the power went out. Pitch black. I bolted from the house, drove half a mile before I could breathe again. I called the police from a gas station. When they searched the house, there were no kids, no bones, no crawl space in the garage. The Thompsons never came home. Their car was still parked in the garage, still running. It's been 5 years. Every July, I get a postcard with no return address. Each one has a drawing done in crayon. Stick figures. 2 adults, 2 kids, and 1 boy in a striped shirt standing behind them, smiling. I used to clean hotel rooms for a living. Not glamorous, but it paid the bills. The place was old. A crumbling brick hotel off Highway 4, built in the 1930s, with no elevators, paper-thin walls, and the kind of carpets that never stopped smelling like mildew. Most of the rooms were normal, except room 313. No one ever stayed there. It wasn't on the booking system. The key hung on a hook in the back closet, dust-covered and untouched. But every couple weeks, my supervisor would ask me to go in and freshen it up. No guests, no staff used it, no maintenance requests. Just freshen it up. I hated going in there. The air was always cold, not cool like AC, but wet and heavy like a basement. The windows were nailed shut. The lights buzzed even when they were off. And in the middle of the room, directly across from the bed, hung a massive old mirror-wide antique with gold trim and claw feet. It wasn't bolted down, just leaning against the wall like it had been waiting. No matter how hard I tried, I could never get that mirror clean. It always looked like there were smudges inside the glass behind it, like fingerprints pressed from the other side. That day, I had my headphones in, just cleaning, not thinking. I sprayed the mirror again, wiped, and noticed something. There was a woman in the reflection, standing behind me. But when I turned around, the room was empty. I yanked my headphones out, heart racing, stared at the mirror. Nothing. The woman, whoever I thought I saw, was gone. Just me. My face pale, eyes wide. No one behind me, no shadow, no movement. I chalked it up to a trick of the light. Bad sleep, too much coffee. Until I noticed something else. In the reflection, my shirt was different. In the real room, I was wearing my usual green uniform polo, but in the mirror, it was red. Same cut, same stains. Just the wrong color. I waved my hand. The reflection waved back, delayed by half a second. I blinked. It blinked slower. I stepped left. It stepped right, perfectly mirrored. But just a beat too late, something was off. I leaned in, trying to find the smudge on the glass that might have caused the distortion. And then the reflection smiled. I didn't. My lips never moved. But hers did. The same face, my face, grinning wide and unnatural, like the skin was stretching too tight over its teeth. I stumbled back, knocking over the mop bucket. Water spilled across the carpet. When I looked up again, the mirror was empty. No me, no room, just darkness. And something moving inside it. I grabbed my things and ran. Didn't clock out. Didn't speak to anyone. I just left. Told myself I wouldn't go back to that room, ever. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. About her. The face that looked like mine, but wasn't mine. The delay. The smile. The darkness. That night, I had a dream. I was in room 313. Only everything was reversed, like I was inside the mirror. The bed was against the wrong wall. The carpet bled upward. And in the corner, standing with her back to me, was the reflection version of me, red shirt, crooked smile. She turned slowly, mouth wide open, and whispered. We switched. I woke up gasping. My alarm said 3:13 a.m. My mirror, the one in my bedroom, was fogged up. Even though I hadn't showered, I wiped it clear. Behind me, just for a moment, I saw the hotel room. I went back the next day. I had to know. The door to room 313 was unlocked. Inside, it was colder than ever. The mirror had moved. It was facing the bed now, directly, as if waiting for someone to sleep there. On the floor, written in the condensation across the glass, were the words, 1 in, 1 out. And on the bed, a green uniform polo, folded, still warm. I quit the job that day. Didn't wait for my paycheck. Didn't explain anything to anyone. I just walked out. But room 313 didn't let go of me. In every reflection, windows, bathroom tiles, the screen of my phone. When it was black, I would catch glimpses of things that didn't belong. Not just flashes, but scenes, moments. A hotel room where I wasn't. Hands that weren't mine, moving when I was still. And always that red shirt. I stopped using mirrors entirely. Covered the ones in my house. Turned off my phone at night. Until one evening, I came home to find the mirror in my hallway uncovered, standing perfectly upright, and taped to the glass a note. "You've been out long enough." I ran, checked into a cheap roadside motel 3 hours away, tried to sleep with the lights on. At 3:13 a.m., the power went out. The mirror on the dresser began to fog. Words etched slowly into the condensation. Knock, knock. The glass pulsed like it was breathing, then cracked. A hairline fracture down the center. I don't remember what happened next. Just waking up on the floor, with blood on my hands, my reflection smiling, and wearing green again.